It's time for a Humans in Tune conversation with Darren on 93.9 Mike FM.
Hey, it's Darren Bergfeld, 93.9 Mike FM, and it is time for another Humans in Tune chat. And today we're talking about our jazz series with Abstraction Spirits at Scout Hall in Cape. This underground jazz series has been bringing some amazing artists over the last year here to Scout Hall. And as we wrap up this first season of it, we are bringing in the next guest, Joel Vanderheyden. Glenn Asteria says at allaboutjazz.com, he charges out of the gate with the impetus of a lion on a hunt. He's methodical, savvy, and exhibits raw power when the situation demands it. He's the hero that jazz needs, ladies and gentlemen, Joel Vanderheyden. How's that for an intro?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that was with 30 seconds prep. I'm so proud of me. No, but Joel, thank you for being my guest. It goes without saying, I'm excited about this show, and I love the attendance we've had at these shows has been great. So many people coming in for their first jazz show, or, you know, it's kind of cool to see that element too, but the repeat offenders that have come back over and over again, I know they're equally looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I appreciate everything that Felipe's done to put it all together, and look forward to making some music with him and the other guys as well. So it should be a great time. You'll
have a talented crew on stage for sure, and yeah, shout out to Dr. Felipe Brito. He's CMO's Director of Jazz Studies, a trombone player, but don't hold that against him. He's an awesome guy doing great things here in Cape for the jazz community and just here for, you know, Cape Girardeau in general. So cheers to Felipe. Yeah, our friends at Scout Hall are throwing this down. Have you been in Cape Girardeau before?
I have been to Cape, but I've never been to Scout Hall, so this will be my first time there. I'm excited to check it out, and from everything I've heard, it sounds like it'll be a fun evening. So
it's cool to see through this jazz series. You know, we're bringing in these professional musicians like yourself to play with Felipe, and you know, standout students from the university, sometimes faculty in the mix there, and it's really cool to see how jazz brings that group together so quickly, and to find that pocket and find that groove and take off with it.
Yeah, I was just talking to a colleague of mine yesterday, actually, that they were asking about this, and it is one of those things that if you're in that world, it's normal, but people that may not have as much familiarity with the jazz world, it's kind of shocking to them. They said, "Oh, have you been rehearsing for this show?" And I said, "Well, no, I'm going to meet some of these guys for the first time on Friday, right before the gig." But because it's a shared language, and we've all kind of studied the language and the expectation involved, it's a beautiful thing to be able to meet people, and then an hour later you're playing a performance with them, and it's like you're old friends almost.
Yeah, that's the vibe. And once you're in that pocket, we as the audience see it, feel it, hear it, and get to experience, you know, that synchronicity as well.
Yeah. And some of the best moments too are when you are playing with people for the first time, and you're listening and you discover things about their playing, or they discover things about your playing that lead to some interesting and really cool musical moments. And you know, I can think of several times that has happened. And then that's the moment when you go, okay, I got to find a way to play with these musicians again sometime, and it can lead to all sorts of fun stuff. So.
And you hope you hit record.
Yeah, exactly.
You are a saxophonist as your primary instrument. I know you do play a lot of other things. You're a regular member of the St. Louis Jazz St. Louis Big Band Group, you know, one of the more prestigious groups up there in St. Louis doing that big band thing. And, of course, Jazz St. Louis, such a wonderful organization as a whole.
Yeah.
You stay pretty busy, and you're an educator as well, right?
Yeah, I stay. St. Louis has been very good to me. I've been here for about 15 years now, and I'm originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I've lived kind of all over the country. I lived in D.C. and Chicago, and I moved here from Iowa. But like I said, I've been in St. Louis for 15 years, and it's really been an amazing place to be a musician, to be an educator. There's just lots of opportunity. And that's partly what I love about, you know, Felipe helping to cultivate this series along with Scout Hall and Abstraction Spirits and everyone else that's involved with this, is bringing some of that spirit of discovery and exploration musically to Cape and that surrounding area, especially as jazz is concerned. So I just think it's really really wonderful. But yeah, I've been very, very lucky. Had lots of different performing opportunities up here. Performed with the symphony and done operas and done pop gigs and jazz gigs and rock gigs, and I played with this gig with Nelly a couple months ago.
Nice.
So it's like lots of different, a wide variety of different things that I'm able to get involved in. So I'm very, very grateful.
And you're right. And St. Louis is just a rich garden of that. It's fun to watch.
I will say, I'm originally from the Midwest, and I still kind of consider this region that Midwest mentality of just people being supportive of one another too. A lot of musicians, I've lived in some places where there's kind of more of a cutthroat, competitive kind of vibe among musicians, and
yeah, absolutely. It is that Midwest humility, I think, that a lot of us grew up with.
For sure.
Just we'll just pull over and help him jump the truck. So. That's it.
Exactly.
So yeah, and you're, like you said, you've lived a lot of places, you've traveled a lot of places to perform. Having that opportunity as a jazz musician is awesome.
Yeah.
As an educator, how do you convey that experience to students, and kind of not necessarily put the stars in their eyes, but show them, hey, those opportunities are out there?
Yeah, I think, what I try to do for my students is just model things like practice habits, talk about gigs. I've got some students that are already actively gigging and, learning about that, what that's like and what to prepare for and in different situations. And so and we talk about it together and with other students that maybe haven't had those opportunities yet as well, so that they can be ready for that. But I think just kind of being an open book and modeling the behaviors that you would like to see them adopt in their professional careers. And
you would hope that as any sort of mentor situation, that is what you would want to do as a mentor, is to impart upon them and be that model, right? Lead by example.
Right. But I've been here long enough now. It is kind of fun because I've been here long enough that I do have former students, I should say, that I remember them when they were kind of first starting out, and now they're, professionals or they're teaching music in the area or playing professionally, and it's like, oh man, I remember I remember when you were like learning your major scales, and
you were this tall.
Cool.
Oh, you've grown.
Right.
And that, to see them succeed, that's a reflection of what examples you gave them, and that common sense that you imparted early on to help them keep from getting burned too, I'm sure. So
yeah. Well, it takes a village for sure. I played a small role, but
yeah. So as we look to Friday night, first off, tickets are at thescouthall.com. You can grab your tickets there. Tables are available, or you can just get your general admission. There's also student discounts for SEMO students that want to swing through. Doors are at 7. Show starts at 7:30, and it's all ages. I know because I'm bringing my son, Lawson. He's a budding trombonist, and I am taking full advantage of imparting all jazz series shows on him. So, and he's had some great experiences too. And I think that's a big part of the musicians we're bringing in is they take the time to, talk to those young musicians, and even just up on stage, you can see that. But tickets are on sale now. We're really excited about the show. Let's talk a little bit about what you'll be playing. The Scout Hall website, thescouthall.com, says you'll be performing original tunes and some jazz fusion tunes. So let's talk a little bit about that, and especially those original tunes.
Sure. Yeah, it's a good mix of stuff. Definitely some jazz standards. We'll probably do some Monk, some Coltrane, some different things like that. But then I've got some original music, and then also some kind of jazz arrangements of some kind of indie folk and some like 80s pop and some different things.
Nice.
It'll be a good mix. I think we'll do an arrangement that I did of Matthew Wilder, "Break My Stride," which was a pop hit in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
We'll do probably some Elliott Smith. There's going to be a wide range of stuff. And my original stuff, I've got a couple things. I love New Orleans. I've got a couple things that are kind of like in a sort of second line New Orleans kind of feel. And then I've got some things that are a little bit more like hip hop or rock kind of oriented. And it'll be a wide variety of music. So if you like music in any style, you'll have something you'll dig.
Yeah, perfect. And of course, the bar is open. Abstraction Spirits co-sponsoring this show with us, and they love art. They love a good drink. They're fun at parties, and they make us more fun at parties. So hooray for that!
Perfect. And they'll probably make me sound better too.
That's it. Yeah. With make sure you got your tip bucket out. I always tell Felipe, make sure you guys got the tip bucket out there. So people have a couple of those old fashions. They get a little generous.
Oh, there we go.
And as far as finding you beyond Scout Hall this Friday, what's the best way for people to check out your tunes and learn more about you?
Sure. Probably just go to my website, joelvanderheyden.com, and they can see like where I'm playing. I've got a few things coming up. I'm playing next week at the Dark Room with the Vincent Varvel Quartet, playing with Janet Evra, who's a vocalist and bassist out of St. Louis. We're playing, I think, over in Illinois in a couple weeks, and so yeah. But all that's posted.
Perfect.
Posted on the website.
And you mentioned Vincent Varvel. He, along with Joe Pastor, are in a group with you called Vihachi. I hope I pronounced that right.
Vihachi, yeah.
Vihachi, yeah. And this is a trio that you guys are kind of taking jazz into that electronic live loop plus acoustic. It's like live and organic with a battery stuck up it kind of vibe. And
yeah. I've always kind of had a thing for that music. I had a quartet based out of Iowa City called Coplant No that kind of did a similar thing, and Vince's quartet does kind of some similar things, less on the live looping side, but definitely heavy on the electronics on certain things. But I just love that marriage of acoustic and electric, and
me too.
Plus I love gadgets and stuff, so I've gone through the whole thing from like hardware, like guitar pedals, into like Ableton Live, and now I'm messing around with this software called Loopy Pro on my iPad, which is really fun. It's very customizable, and you can do a lot of pretty substantial stuff with not a ton of equipment, which is really fun. So,
well, we're really looking forward to the show. Again, it's Friday night. thescouthall.com to grab your tickets. Doors at 7, shows at 7:30. We're talking to Joel Vanderheyden. He is the saxophonist coming in for our final show of the season with the Underground Jazz Series, bringing the best jazz musicians from around the area and beyond to Cape Girardeau. Thanks to Dr. Felipe Brito, SEMO Director of Jazz Studies and Abstraction Spirits, for putting on the throwdown. And Joel, we'll see you on Friday.
Awesome. Thanks, Darren. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for catching this Humans in Tune conversation with 93.9 Mike FM. Find previous interviews on our Facebook page, or you can listen via our podcast at 939mikefm.com.